Today it is our privilege and our honor for our mother, Doreen Walters, to put her remains to rest. She and Dad loved this church, Bee Ridge Presbyterian, and this memorial garden, and it was their wish to be placed here. Since she and Dad loved cruises and went on 30 plus, we have also saved some of her ashes to be dispersed while in the Caribbean on a cruise, and also some at their home on Addison Place where they lived for 21 years. Mom attended Bible studies throughout her adult life. It was a big part of her life, and the circle meetings here at church. And so I found her Bible, and as I paged through it, I was looking at verses that might be appropriate for today. And I believe that the ones that Kate's going to read, it's how she lived her life. So Kate's going to share them with us now.
Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud. It is not rude, it is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It also protects, always trusts, always hopes, always preserves.
Well, we can't have a service for Mom and not have music. Mom was known as a singer all of her life and loved music. So did Dad. And she and Dad sang in the Monticello choir for over 20 years, and then here at Bee Ridge Presbyterian for over 31 years. So this is a gift that I want to give back to Mom as a thank you for what she gave us. And I hope she's listening. And just bear with me. I'm not Josh Groban. But he's going to help me.
Troubles come and my heart burdened be, and I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. Raise me up to more than I can be.
So music is in each of us 5 kids, whether it's through singing, playing an instrument, which some of us did better than others, but I won't say who, making instruments, being on a board of an orchestra, going to Broadway shows, or listening and appreciating music. We all thoroughly enjoy music in some way, which is a gift given to us from Mom. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be.
raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raised me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. Me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. Raised us up to more than we can be.
I think you did way better than Josh, by the way. I'm just saying.
So while we are burying her ashes, we'll play one of the hymns she wanted at a service. She had 3 picked out, and this one is God Be With You Till We Meet Again. So let me just get it here. Technology. Sorry.
Again, she always goes.
Hi, Mom.
Well, what's funny is I said, Emily, can you take a picture of it? And so we were trying to catch it, and I was like, moving around just like Grandma. But then when I said we wanted to take a picture, she posed just like she would have.
Mom loved butterflies. In closing, I just want to read what Mom wrote at the bottom of a page I found with directions that before they went on one of their cruises, one of their trips. in case of death, it had a bunch of directions, just like Mom, always so organized. And it said, at the bottom, it said, "Dear loved ones, we love you all very much and thank you for being such a wonderful family. You have all brought us great joy and much happiness all your lives. God be with you till we meet again. All our love, Mom and Dad." That's it. All right. On behalf of the 5 Walters children, 4 of us are here. We just want to thank everyone for coming today to celebrate an amazing woman's life, our mom, Doreen Annette Coburn Walters. When she and I talked about what the family would do to celebrate her life, she asked, well, do you want to have a church service at Bee Ridge Presbyterian? That was the church they loved. They sang in the choir for 31 years. Or would we have a small service in the chapel? It's a historic landmark, and they also loved that at the church. Or would we have some sort of reception? Or what they finally decided on, they wanted their ashes spread at Bee Ridge Presbyterian's Memorial Garden. And we did that this morning at 9:30. And as we were talking about this, she kind of laughed and teasingly said, "Well, I won't be there, so you guys can do what you want." And she also said, "I don't want any of you girls to have to cook or make food. So take my credit card and go buy food and drink, and I want it to be a party with lots of laughing and joking and telling stories." And so that's what we're going to do today. And I've already heard some great things, and thank you so much for bringing the memories and the pictures. There's a great picture from Kay and Dave Sanchez of Mom and Dad eating chili dogs with their mouths right open. So I put it right up there. It's great. So thank you. So today's celebration of life is meant for everyone to think about Mom and what she meant to them and how she lived her life. She loved unconditionally. That's just the word that always comes to my mind. She had it figured out that life should be lived with joy. She found that joy in her marriage to my dad. 73 years, how many people can say that? And she found joy in raising us 5 kids. Although some days she said, "I would run away and want to join the circus." She would have done anything for us. She gave us all wonderful lives. Besides loving her family, she also never knew a stranger. She would talk to anyone and soon become fast friends. She loved the people at her church, the choir she sang in, her circle friends there, her cul-de-sac neighbors, and her hairdresser was one of her best friends.
Her hairdresser.
In the cards that friends sent us, the descriptions of Mom and comments that I just loved were, she was kind, she was generous, she was always happy, she was a dear, sweet, wonderful lady. Your mom was always smiling, a face that radiated love and joy. She always made me feel so welcome at your house. I felt like an extended family member. She was such a support to me. I received so many cards of encouragement from her. She always had a smile in her voice. She had such an upbeat personality. I marveled at how she could type. And for those of you who don't know, my mom, it was like playing the piano, and at night sometimes when she'd be writing, it was like, she was so fast. I was amazed at how ageless she was. She loved your dad so much, and you children were her life. She was a blessing to us all. So, while I was cleaning out the house, I found 5 envelopes in a little plastic drawer thing in there, and luckily it just had office supplies and things, but there were 5 envelopes, all identical fat envelopes, and so I was kind of curious and I opened one up, and I believe they were intended for us 5 children. So I'd like everybody to sit back and relax, because I'd like to read it. It really says more about Mom and her humor and her wit and her deep ability to love. So this is the original. And it starts out, I wrote this poem for Dad in March 1946 when we lived in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Dad was working at Corning Glass Works, and I worked for Navy Depot as a typist file clerk. I had 1 hour for lunch and the use of a typewriter. And so I wrote this for him during my lunch hours. We had been married for 9 months. This was never meant to be shown to anyone but Dad, and he has kept it all these years. But now we share it with you. Corny, yes, but straight from the heart, exclamation point. And after all these years, I feel just the same. So it's really great. The first time I went out with you, remember that 4th of July? My heart knew right away, dear, that you'd be my only guy. Through 4 short years we traveled, together most every day. We always found things to laugh about. We always found life so gay. In our first year of college, when freshmen green were we, I studied typing and shorthand, economics and history. You struggled with your chemistry, qualitative physics and stuff. I never could see how you could learn so much. Your subjects were always so tough. Sometimes we walked together to school, sometimes we met coming home. Sometimes we studied together at night or merely talked on the phone. Then came freshman elections, and president of my class I became. Gosh, I was proud to have made it, and you, dear, of course felt the same. You were rushed by several fraternities, but town group you decided to join. But we were invited to many frat parties, so we had all the fun just the same. Remember your little freshman cap? Brown and white with a button on top? That's for Lehigh. Oh, how proudly I flaunted it, stuck on the top of my mop. There were lots of dances at Grace Hall and some at Moravian too, and you wore your first tuxedo the time I wore my dress of blue. The occasion was the senior ball, and I had my arm in a sling. It was the time I had injured my hand when an arrow in archery went zing. Right through her finger. So ended an awfully nice year, and summer came round once again. You worked again in tool steel, while the main office accounts payable was my yen. At the end of this summer to Wildwood with my family we went. For 1 solid week, you and I, a most wonderful vacation spent. Sophomores that fall we became, and so started another school year, which was twice as nice as the one before. It holds lots of sweet memories, dear. Now started your real struggle, for you had no more time off. Just a few days here and there, the war had made things rough. We both got part-time jobs this year. You started in the fall. You at the steel company, and I became a stenographer at Lehigh's Copy Hall. One Sunday night, do you recall that time? You gave me your class ring, and I gave you mine. I wound wool around mine. I was so happy I could sing. I wore it on my left hand. We pretended it was my engagement ring. German became your bugaboo. To study it, time you lacked. So I looked up all the hard words in the vocabulary in the back. Dr. Carlson in my economics class probably thought I was dumb as rocks. For if I wasn't topping your German, I was knitting my honey more socks. This was the end of my last year, for I graduated in June. College had come and gone, and I was leaving too soon.
Yeah, I'm funny.
2 nice things befell me that pleased you, me, and all. I was voted the sophomore attendant for the queen of the senior ball. I wore a brand new $22 green dress, the most expensive I had ever bought, and carried a beautiful bouquet of flowers. I believe I have the ribbon yet. Then came my graduation day, and I was afraid you couldn't see me. You had to work, but there you were, all by yourself in the balcony. I won the award for the best in the class and had to go up front to receive it. I looked up at you when I returned, and you smiled, for you too couldn't believe it. We never had much money, to shows we seldom went, but Saturday evenings by no other couple were ever more happily spent. We enjoyed staying home by our lonesome. We sang, fooled, wrestled, and over and above that sofa at 744 Delwood Street could tell many a story of love. Then came 2 years for me at the real estate department and 2 more years at Lehigh for you. Your junior and senior years were tough, but you finally finished and won. We had lots of fun during those 2 years. You had plenty to study and do. But I took wonderful delight, you can bet, in helping you as best I could. I typed reports and more reports and drew graphics and pictures too. Lehigh practically turned out another engineer, and you kidded, I'll tear my diploma in 2. A wonderful baseball player was Don, and to most every game I went. Those evenings watching you up at bat were some of the best I've spent. You were great as a left fielder and even better at second base, and you had the highest batting average than any guy in the place. Then came October 15th. What a wonderful, proud day. Graduation for Donald, a BS2. Hooray! For 2 whole weeks till November 1st, we played, danced, everything, for that was the time when you left for Wellsboro, Pennsylvania to try your wings. For 1 month's training, there you stayed, and then to Rhode Island you hied. You stayed at the home of the Asquiths, and for 7 long months I sighed. At Christmas time you did come home, and I got my engagement ring. Another especially happy day. Oh, how our hearts did sing. And then at Easter again you came home, and wedding plans were the big news. The day was set for June 23rd, and there wasn't a minute to lose. Everything finally was settled, and on June 23rd it was done. All our friends and relations were there at 3 to see Doreen and Donald joined into one. A wonderful honeymoon at Wildwood, 5 heavenly days at the shore, sunbathing, loafing, and loving. Who could ask for anything more? And then our new home in Rhode Island, 11 South Union is the place. Donald works at Corning Glass and Doreen at a Navy base. Are we happy? You bet. Are we sorry we married so young? Our love for each other grows bigger each day, and we never stop having such fun. So hats off to the Walters, and when day is done, may each tomorrow to follow be a very happy one. So, that was incredible, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And I think it just describes the type of person Mom was. So, does everybody have a beverage of their choice? All right. Maybe a mudslide from the cul-de-sac parties, the infamous mudslides, or my husband's margaritas, or whatever you like to drink. I'd like us to make a toast, and I don't know where mine's somewhere.
Here's the bottle of wine.
All right, please raise your glasses. To our mom, Doreen Walters, a wonderful mother, grandmother, aunt, neighbor, my best friend and my hero, from the people you loved and in turn loved you. Here's to Mom.
Cheers. Cheers.
Thank you, that was good.
Some of mine.
And
Some of mine.
I'm so proud that we have a big table of food in there for everybody because, as I've told some of you, food was love and love is food to Mom, and so I think she'd be really happy to see everybody enjoying that and enjoying the drinks and sharing stories. And if anybody has something they want to say right now, this would be a great time to do it. I'll just start with three little things that have always been kind of jokes. You know, we live here in Sarasota, and when we would call Mom, you know, to ask her, like, oh, you know, Cameron has a show tonight, you want to come? And she'd say, oh, I'm so sorry. We have reservations at Wings and Weenies. and it just became, you know, a joke. Nothing against Wings and Weenies. I don't know. And then one of my favorite memories was in Monticello, where we grew up in our house. It was a tri-level. And I just remember her every evening. The TV was in the corner, and there was a big chair facing the TV, and she would iron. That's when ladies ironed everything. And she would just stand there, I think, for hours and iron. And then I had been doing homework, and I came down, and she was in the chair, and I thought, oh, well, she fell asleep. And this was probably in the late 60s, early 70s, when women wore wiglets. I don't know if you remember that, but they had the poofy hair, and it was an extra wiglet thing attached to the top. And so I tiptoed, and I had really long hair, and I came down, and I went to see if she was asleep, and my hair went and fell like near her face, and she jumped up and screamed, and she tore her wig off and threw it on the ground and started stomping on it. And she's like, oh, I thought it was a spider. And I still laugh to this day when I picture it so clearly. Oh, that's so funny. But I have lots of little memories like that. So, anybody else want to share any funny moments? Oh, I'm trying to think what else.
Doreen was in my circle at the Presbyterian Church. She amazed me at what she knew and was willing to tell it and share it. Because some of the women just sat there, you know, almost sucking their thumbs. And she always had a good attitude. I don't think I ever saw her sad or angry. And she just bubbled. That's the word I described her with.
Yeah.
She bubbled. And it was a thrill and a delight and God's blessing to have known her and to be able to celebrate with all her friends today.
Thank you.
Well, my name's Gay, and my mother, D.A., was, and Dad, Rudy, were very good friends with Don and Doreen, and I met them at First Presbyterian. I think I left Sarasota about 17 and went to college and really never lived here again, but I came back to visit quite a lot, and I would go to church with Mom, and there was Doreen. They were getting out of their car. Hello, how are you? She was always so interested. She knew what was happening with my kids and my life, and I didn't realize how much I think I was following her example. But 7 years ago, Don, my husband, and I were married on June 23rd. And now we are members of First Presbyterian Church in St. Petersburg, where we are very active, and I understand so much more about her love and her care. And I was telling someone else that she, I have the last email, she would write to my mom. My mom went into a nursing center, and she would write to Mom within the last couple of years. Mom died 3 years ago, but she would write to her at least once a week. There would be a letter there. And they couldn't talk on the phone that much, but before that, she would call her every day. She was so faithful and so gracious. And then after Mom passed away, she started writing me emails, and we just got to be really, really good friends. And I have her last email in a little envelope over here, because there she was asking me, oh, I'm so proud of your daughter at Quantico, and she knew everything. We'd send pictures, and I think that she just became one of my shining examples.
Thank you. Thank you.